Gents, I'm recording from my car because I'm outside. I'm not in my studio. Yeah, so this is pretty interesting one because there has been a struggle, both sides claiming like how one side is going to destroy another one between US and Iran. Iran is saying like, oh, we have so many things that we can just destroy aircraft carriers and their Aegis system and all that. We have a Chinese aircraft carrier destroyer. All right. So this is a video that claims how the US would destroy Iran's air defenses, the Desert Storm playbook. So this has precedent, has happened in the past. This is going to be interesting. Let's hope it's fun.
35 years ago, the United States military did something that military experts said was impossible. In just 38 days, they completely annihilated one of the largest air defense networks in the world without losing a single bomber. And right now, as negotiations between Washington and Tehran reach a critical breaking point, the Pentagon is dusting off that exact same playbook. Today, we're going to break down exactly how the Desert Storm blueprint would work against Iran's modern defenses, why Iran's upgraded systems might actually make them more vulnerable, and what the US Navy is already doing to prepare for the unthinkable. Modern conflict never comes down to strength alone. Success depends on planning, coordination, and the ability to adapt when the map changes faster than anyone expects. To understand why military planners are looking at Desert Storm as a template for Iran, you need to first understand just how insane that operation really was. In August 1990, Saddam Hussein's Iraq had the fourth largest army in the world, over 1 million soldiers.
What the fuck? Fourth largest? Iraq was fourth largest? I think US should get credit for Iraq. If they just went against fourth largest in 21st century and kicked their ass. Iran is not even fourth largest. It's not even in top 10.
5,500 tanks. And crucially, one of the most sophisticated air defense networks outside of the Soviet Union. The Iraqis had French-made Roland missiles, Soviet SA-2s, SA-3s, SA-6s, and SA-8s, thousands of anti-aircraft guns, and an integrated command and control network modeled after the Soviet Union's own air defense doctrine. Military analysts at the time estimated that an air campaign against Iraq would result in the loss of hundreds of coalition aircraft.
Okay, so they had French. French things are not a joke when it comes to planes and even air defenses. Iraq had French things. I didn't know that. US didn't even use F-22 at the time. They have it was basically ready, but not completely ready, but they could have used it. Basically how B-21 is right now. US have B-21. They can use it if they really wanted to.
They were catastrophically wrong. At 2:38 a.m. on January 17, 1991, 8 F-117 Nighthawk stealth bombers crossed into Iraqi airspace. They were completely invisible to Iraqi radar. Their mission? Take out Iraq's command and control centers in the first 30 minutes of the war. Those 8 aircraft dropped precision-guided bombs on the Iraqi Air Force headquarters, the main telephone exchange, key command bunkers, critical radar installations. Within minutes, Iraq's air defense network was blind and deaf. The generals couldn't talk to their missile batteries. The radar operators couldn't warn the interceptors. The entire system collapsed. But here's where it gets interesting for Iran. Now, Iran's leadership knows exactly what happened to Iraq.
Okay, did they had Growler back then? I highly doubt that. Did they had lot of highly technological electronic warfare the US have right now? Back then, no, they didn't. And they still did that to Iraq. In modern times, with AI power and everything, US is basically leading IT technology. They are IT technology. They have the Growler and God knows what other. Venezuela is they use sonic weapons. Trump is going to diss something, I forgot even, discombobulator or whatever. Who knows the level of shit US is using? Laser weapon, microwave weapons. And people in Iran literally think that they can just take down an aircraft carrier and US will run back to their country or something. Are you kidding me? The level of shit they have, they'll leave you blind. They'll fry your radars and all the launchers. What you gonna do then? Only strength you have is ballistic missiles and all different type of missiles. That's it. Missiles are only thing you invested in. I'm not trying to talk down against any country, right? I would never do that. Country is country. War is bad. But let's not flex in front of America. Try to be peaceful. Have a conversation where war is avoided. Don't flex in front of America. No country can do that, let alone Iran.
Spent the last 3 decades building what they believe is an impenetrable air defense shield. Let me show you what we're dealing with. Long range, the S-300 PMU-2. Iran finally received these Russian-made systems in 2016 after years of delays. These can engage targets up to 200 kilometers away at altitudes of up to 27,000 meters. Multiple missiles can guide simultaneously, and they're specifically designed to counter stealth aircraft. The Bavar 373, Iran's pride. This is their homegrown system. Iran claims it rivals the Russian S-400. It uses phased array radar, can track up to 200 targets simultaneously, and carries the Sayed 4 missile with...
Okay, if it rivals S-400, why you still have S-300? Why not replace that with this one? You can't just wake up one day and like, yeah, we made something better than S-400 or something like S-400. That's not a joke. Like S-400 is comparatively against like THAAD and Patriot, right? You can't really find like Chinese probably have some rival to it, but that's about it. Nobody can just wake up and make something like that.
A reported range of 300 kilometers. Medium range, the Cordad systems. These are the ones that actually shot down that $180 million American RQ-4A Global Hawk drone back in 2019. They work, and Iran knows it.
Alright, that is commendable. They actually shot down an American drone in 2019, only 6-7 years ago. This is one of the reasons why American general is telling Trump, this is not Venezuela, and it's not going to be so easy. Let's not discount Iran yet. Still can't fight America, but it's not going to be easy.
Short range. Chinese and Russian systems, TRAM-1, Pantsir S-1, and a web of anti-aircraft artillery covering every critical facility. Sounds impressive, right? Here's the problem. Integration. Iraq's air defense networks failed because once you cut the head off the snake, the command centers, all those individual missile batteries become isolated islands. They couldn't coordinate. They couldn't share targeting data. They couldn't mask their fires. And despite all of Iran's upgrades, intelligence analysts believe they have the exact same weakness. So how would a modern Desert Storm unfold against Iran? Let me walk you through what the Pentagon is actually planning. It starts before a single manned aircraft crosses into Iranian airspace. Right now, there are at least 8 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers in the Middle East. Each one carries up to 96 Tomahawk cruise missiles in their...
Fuck it, all with the Aegis system, all that. Yeah, I never knew how deadly Arleigh Burke destroyers are. If there is a ship that should have a name of destroyer, it's this one's. They even fitting HELIOS on that, laser weapons and all that. Why not? METEOR, or what's that Greek name? I forgot. Leonidas, Spartan name. METEOR/Leonidas is probably going to be fitted on that one as well very soon. Destroyers are an apt name for that one. So yeah, other thing, like he said, all the radars, if you just command center, if you take them out, these are islands, right? They can't communicate with each other. Now that problem would arise with anyone. This is why you should have a stronger air force where you can have air dominance and have certain type of radars in the sky in itself, like how Americans are doing it. So if you don't have a good air force, which Iran doesn't, yeah, these are isolated islands that can be picked apart one by one.
Vertical launch systems. That's potentially 768 cruise missiles ready to launch from positions Iran's air defenses cannot reach. The first wave would target radar installations, command bunkers, communications nodes, electrical substations powering air defense networks. Simultaneously, Air Force...
And this is just Navy, by the way. Air Force has their own thing. F-22s, bombers, C-130s with Rapid Dragon missiles. that they can launch all the way from, I guess, Spain, and it will reach Iran, right? Let's not even ignore Air Force. Air Force was so powerful. The Space Force was part of Air Force for years. The first ever Hubble was Air Forces, United States Air Forces, that looked down before NASA's like, can we have that please? And they made it into Hubble that looks into space. Air Force have ridiculous shit. We are not even talking about Air Force right now, which they are involved.
Force B-2 Spirit stealth bombers, the same aircraft that hit Iran during Operation Midnight Hammer last June, would penetrate Iranian airspace. These bombers carry the 30,000-pound GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator, specifically designed to destroy deeply buried facilities. The exact type of facilities Iran has been frantically trying to protect by burying entrances with dirt. But here's where the Navy becomes critical. The USS Abraham Lincoln Strike Group is currently positioned in the Arabian Sea. On board, F-35C Lightning II stealth fighters and EA-18G Growler electronic warfare aircraft. The Growlers would deploy first, jamming Iranian radar frequencies and launching AGM-88 HARM missiles at any air defense system that lights up its radar. Then come the F-35Cs. These fifth-generation fighters are designed to operate in contested airspace. Their sensor fusion allows them to see the entire battle space while remaining virtually invisible to Iranian radar. And they've already proven they work. Just last week, an F-35C from the Lincoln shot down an Iranian Shahed 139 drone that was approaching the carrier.
Yeah, that doesn't mean much. Drones are easier to take down, but Israel with F-35Is, which is basically the same thing with their own integration, has been bombing the shit out of Iran for a long time now. They destroyed a lot of launchers in past year or so with F-35Is. So F-35s just work. Iran is claiming they have certain jammers from China or Russia that can disable Aegis, Patriot, THAAD and everything, which to me is like, show me then I'll believe it. But if that works, that's a problem. Modern tech is so complicated. If just one thing can just, topple all of that, that's a problem. So this conflict is going to be interesting to see that.
Iranians didn't even know the F-35 was there until their drone exploded. But the real innovation? It's something that would make Desert Storm planners weep with envy. In 1991, we cut Iraq's communications by bombing telephone exchanges. In 2026, we can do something far more devastating. Sources indicate the United States has already pre-positioned cyber weapons inside Iranian military networks. These were placed during the months leading up to the current crisis. When, not if, an attack begins, these cyber weapons would disable radar systems remotely, corrupt missile guidance data, shut...
Are you fucking kidding me? They have malware installed in Iran system. Do you know how flex that is? You want to do electronic warfare, you want to do radar, I made radar. I made the technology and software that you use. Here's a virus. Do you know the level of flex that is if that works? That would literally be like Venezuela. If a virus can work, it will disable everything. If it does that, if it fucks with everything, what resistance is left?
Down power grids supporting air defense, sever communications between commanders and operators. Iran's air defenders might watch their screens go dark, their missiles refuse to launch, their radios fill with static, all before the first physical weapon arrives. Then there's the swarm. The US military has developed the ADM-160 Miniature Air Launch Decoy, or MALD. These small drones can be launched from F-35s, F-15Es, and even standoff platforms. Each MALD can be programmed to mimic the radar signature of larger aircraft. Imagine hundreds of fake F-35s appearing on Iranian radar screens while the real aircraft approach from different vectors. Every time an Iranian operator launches a Syad missile at a MALD, that's one less missile to shoot at an actual aircraft. And those $3 million missiles are far more expensive than the decoys. Chief of Naval Operations Admiral Daryl Caudle said it best just last week. We overmatched them significantly. Iran knows this. So the fact that we have that type of capability is a strong deterrent.
We have 3,000 ballistic missile. America's like, yeah, we have 3,001 decoys. Now what you gonna do? That's next level shit.
He's not bluffing. So, what does all this mean for the current standoff? Right now, the United States has deployed 10 Navy ships in the CENTCOM region, the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group with 60-plus aircraft, 8 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, over 100 C-17 cargo flights delivering THAAD and Patriot systems, F-15E Strike Eagles, A-10 Thunderbolts, EA-18G Growlers, B-2 bombers likely positioned at...
I don't think they should use A-10. A-10 should not be used against Iran. They have enough system that they can take down A-10s. A-10s is such a old technology that any radar can basically detect it and attack it. And Iran has way too many of them. So I don't know how A-10 is going to work here.
Diego Garcia. And here's the thing about Desert Storm that Iran's leadership needs to understand. The air campaign against Iraq wasn't meant to win the war. It was meant to make the ground war unnecessary. After 38 days of airstrikes, Iraqi forces in Kuwait were so degraded, so demoralized, so cut off from command that the ground campaign lasted just 100 hours. When IRGC General Hossein Teher...
Why would you think Iran would be any different? Let's say Iran thing actually happens. They basically, detects and destroys all your radars, all your launchers, essentially all of them. Bomb the shit out of any military structure they can see, and then put troops there. It will take like Iraq 100 hours. How would this be any different? Iraq was fourth biggest army. You're not that. How long? On top of that, there is literal protest in your country trying to overthrow the regime. It's going to last less than that.
He threatened last week to strike all U.S. bases in the region if attacked. He was ignoring a critical lesson from history. Saddam Hussein's forces also had missiles. They fired 42 Scud missiles at Israel, 46 at Saudi Arabia. They killed a total of 28 coalition personnel. The coalition killed between 20,000 and 50,000 Iraqi soldiers. That's the math. That's the Desert Storm blueprint. And Iran's military planners know it. As negotiations continue in Amman this weekend, as CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper sits across from Iranian representatives, one thing is certain. The United States isn't just offering diplomacy. It's offering Iran a choice between a deal or experiencing exactly what Iraq experienced 35 years ago.
To be honest, American diplomacy is that. Oh, there's F-22 in the air. Let's talk. That has been American diplomacy for decades. Yeah. Look, man, here's what I'm going to say. You can call me biased. I don't know how I'm biased. I'm not an American. How am I biased? But US is much stronger now than they were during the Iraq war time. They have much better and advanced technology right now than they had back then. Electronic warfare is a million times more stronger than it were back then. Right now, warfare is so different. With certain technology, you're basically too overpowered, which USA is. China is kind of following that. Most countries cannot follow any of that. China, USA, maybe Russia, who knows? And we don't know about Russia because they have money problem and war problem, right? China and USA is the only one, and mainly USA is doing a lot of AI-powered electronic warfare, such a level most people can't realize what weaponry that even is. One virus disabling everything. How are you going to fight? Right? This time, so America is way more powerful right now. All right, I'll see you next time.